Bro Science Breakdown.
Fun fact, saturated fats are really bad for you, and you should avoid them at all costs. If you believe this, allow me to debunk that for you. Welcome to Bro Science Breakdown, where I discuss healthy living for my fellow young folks. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Arthur, an early high school grad who struggled with my self-image for a long time. I was eventually able to overcome my struggles, and I might be able to help you with yours as well. So, if you're around 18, then you've come to the right place. In these first 3 episodes, I'll be delving into 3 important facets of health for us younger folks: physical health, mental health, and social health. Well, that was the plan until it became derailed. From now on, I'll be mostly talking about physical health, so please hang on to your seats as you go through this bumpy podcast journey with me. This episode will cover healthy eating, something that I've been only sticking to recently. If you'd like, I can go more in-depth about any topic mentioned in this episode. Just give me the word. Oh man, where do I even begin with such a topic? If you tuned into the previous episode, which I highly suggest listening to by the way, I mentioned my healthy eating habits used to be pretty crap. About a year after I started working out, I saw my gains in physique plateauing, and I had no idea what was to blame. In fact, I noticed that I was gaining more fat than muscle. I mostly focused my attention on my training. I was consistently going a few times a week to the gym, training to failure with a moderate 6 to 8 rep range. That was until one fateful day, my YouTube feed decided to recommend me some Nikocado avocado videos. Now that made me think long and hard about the food I was putting into my body, and since then, I've been on a somewhat unfaithful yet persistent journey to eating better. The first place I started was incorporating more protein into my diet. To be honest, I didn't care much at first where my protein came from. My parents bought bags of frozen breaded chicken, and I chucked a few in the air fryer before munching on some tasty protein. I, of course, didn't forget the sauce. The sweet, succulent, addictive sauce. Like a caveman, my main goal at the time was just to add more protein to my meals, and I was like, to hell with counting calories and macros. But then my technique became more refined over time, as I got the chicken without the breading, and I threw out the sauces. Instead of sauces, I just used some oil and seasonings and blasted the chicken in the air fryer. Many people are aware that more protein generally leads to more gains when coupled with working out. Though why is this? Well, there's a process aptly named muscle protein synthesis, and it starts with eating protein. Your body breaks down the protein you eat into small building blocks, amino acids. When you work out, you create micro tears in your muscle, and your body tells itself to repair these micro tears to make the muscle stronger. Your body takes the same amino acids it just broke down from the protein you ate to go repair those micro tears, therefore making your muscles grow in size. Honestly, this puts being shredded and ripped into a whole new perspective. So, what are some good sources of protein? Well, I can help with that. I've got a whole arsenal of protein-rich foods, and they aren't that expensive as well. Well, relatively speaking, of course. When it comes to protein powder, there are 2 options that are equally as great: whey protein and soy protein. Generally speaking, soy protein tends to have a higher protein content, less calories, and is a great source of iron. However, it is also a high source of sodium, is most of the time unflavored, and tends to have a chalky aftertaste. So, if you'd like to have a cheap source of protein and don't mind a little grain in your drink, then I suggest going for soy protein. There's a gallon tub on Amazon going for like $36 and has 27 grams of protein per serving. Given how the tub has 57 servings per container, it's an absolute steal. The other soy proteins, in my opinion, either have a low protein to serving ratio or are just too expensive for me to recommend. But before we move on from soy protein, I'd like to give a little disclaimer. If you excessively eat soy products like soy protein powder, tofu, soy milk, and others, it may increase estrogen levels. Soy protein contains isoflavones that might mimic estrogen by interacting with estrogen receptors. However, each person's body is different. This means that some may be strongly influenced by these isoflavones, while others might not feel their hormonal levels being affected. So, if you do choose this route, I suggest a daily max of 50 grams of protein from soy protein, just to be safe. However, if you want a good taste and texture along with a good price, then I suggest going for whey protein. Now if you do, get the 4 or 5 pound tubs. On Amazon, look up protein powder, and it should be pretty clear what I'm talking about. Seriously, there are some whey protein powders on the market that go for like $45, $55, and $60, and they only have 30 servings per container. I don't care that this protein powder tastes like heavenly rain mixed with unicorn hairs. It's probably got some filler ingredients because each scoop only has 20 grams of protein. There's this one brand that I suggest for whey protein. NutriCost. I personally use this protein powder as I'm a big fan of whey protein. There's a 5-pound tub on Amazon with like 69 servings, nice, with 25 grams of protein per scoop. Plus, it costs only like $60, which gives me some nice savings. Now mind you, the 69 serving option is unflavored, but they do sell flavored tubs that only have 63 servings. But that's not the only reason I suggest NutriCost. I don't know about the other brands, but this is just basically whey protein without other crap put into it. You don't need any filler ingredients or barely tested supplements in your protein powder. Just whey protein. Sorry for the yap session on protein powders, just got really excited talking about it. Anyways, powder is not the only good way to source protein. In fact, I'd say whole foods are far better for you. For example, nuts and seeds are pretty high in protein. I love cashews, walnuts, and almonds for snacks and in my protein shakes. Plus, I recently found out that pumpkin seeds are really high in protein, so I suggest those as well. And of course there's meat. Canned tuna is a great option, coming in at around 20 to 30 grams of protein per can. However, don't eat it too often or you'll get mercury poisoning. Not gonna lie, it's pretty inconvenient considering how good the macros are. There's also chicken breast, which has about 32 grams of protein per breast. They're relatively low in calorie count, which is pretty good if you're on a caloric deficit. As much as I love protein, there are other foods that are also incredibly important for your bodily function, namely, fruits and vegetables. I hate to say it, but our parents had a point when they kept advocating stuff like broccoli and Brussels sprouts. In fact, these two are both good sources of fiber, vitamin K, and Brussels sprouts even have antioxidants. Not gonna lie, Popeye was cooking when I ate that spinach, because that has a lot of good stuff as well. Screw it. Just eat vegetables in general because almost all of them have a good amount of vitamins, minerals, and fiber. Plus, you don't want to get scurvy now, do you?
What's the point of that if protein will grow my muscles?
I hear you. Well, they don't do much. They only help your organs and cells to function normally, lower risk for diseases, help with your gut health, boost your growth and immune system, and a laundry list of other benefits. Not gonna lie, they're pretty easy to incorporate into your diet. Now me personally, I love vegetables like broccoli, as long as they're cooked properly. They gotta be oven baked or air fried with a little oil and some seasoning. Wait a little until they're golden brown, and god damn they slap hard. Or I just chuck them into my protein shake along with fruits and berries. Oh, speaking of fruits and berries, they also have great nutritional value. Berries in particular are very high in antioxidants, which help boost your immune system like vitamin C. They also support cellular function and disease prevention, promote healthy aging, and help protect organs like the eyes and brain. Specifically, blackberries, blueberries, and aronia berries are especially good sources of antioxidants, so I suggest hopping on those. Meanwhile, fruits are great sources of fiber and vitamins. I suggest mangoes, avocados, figs, and apples, just to name a few that I particularly enjoy. Oh, fun fact, by the way. You know how frozen fruit tastes sweeter than regular fruit? That's because the naturally occurring sugars found in fruits crystallize when frozen, making it easier for the tongue to detect them. Now that's a fun fact you can tell your friends and family. Just to solidify my point, I'll bring up a great study showing the benefits of incorporating more fruits and veggies in your diet. This one comes from Imperial College London in 2017, and it analyzed 95 studies on the consumption of fruits and vegetables. They came to the conclusion that consuming about 800 grams of fruits and veggies every day can produce a lot of positive effects, and I'll read them out for you. 24% reduced risk of heart disease, 33% reduced risk of stroke, 28% reduced risk of cardiovascular disease, 13% reduced risk of total cancer, and 31% reduced risk of premature death. Oh man, that was a pretty long list, not gonna lie. It just goes to show how much of a positive impact eating a few leafy greens and berries can make on your life. Let's move on to a less well-known yet equally important portion of eating. Healthy fats. Not gonna lie, it kind of sounds like an oxymoron. Healthy fats. Now, let's make an important distinction, as this sometimes confuses people. Healthy fats are saturated and unsaturated fats, and just as the name suggests, they are generally good for you in moderation. You may have heard that consumption of saturated fats leads to issues like high cholesterol and cardiovascular health issues. The recent research rebukes these claims. Several studies have found that there's not enough conclusive evidence to connect saturated fat intake to the issues listed above, and have even suggested that it can increase levels of good cholesterol. If you're still worried, just focus on eating whole foods rather than limiting saturated fat intake. As for unsaturated fats, moderate consumption can also increase levels of good cholesterol, while reducing inflammation, supporting heart health, and improving blood sugar regulation. But still, remember to consume healthy fats in moderation. Some good sources of healthy fats are, as I mentioned above, generally whole foods. Avocados, salmon, red meat, nuts, and eggs are great sources of healthy fats. And speaking of eggs, fun fact, eating raw eggs is actually very ineffective for protein, as your body can only break down 50% of protein from raw eggs. Meanwhile, your body can break down up to 90% of protein from cooked eggs. So don't be stupid. Cook your eggs, people. Unhealthy fats are trans fats, and can lead to pretty crappy issues down the road. Rather than saturated fats, these are the guys you need to watch out for. They can increase risk for heart disease and strokes, worsen regulation of blood sugar levels, increase risk of type 2 diabetes, and even lead to issues like cognitive decline and nervous system issues. I suggest doing your own research on the issues linked to consumption of these fats, as they're pretty bad in my opinion. Some sources of trans fat includes fast food, fried food, cookies, pastries, and frozen food. Now, some health authorities suggest cutting out these sources of trans fats entirely from your diet. Not gonna lie, that crap is pretty hard, and some people don't have an indomitable will. But rather eating in moderation, I suggest keeping those calories from those sources to a minimum. Even moderate consumption can drastically increase the chances of developing the issues I mentioned previously. If some countries have banned trans fats entirely from the nation, think about what they can do to your body. Finally, there's carbs. Some may lead you to believe that they're the devil, saying that you should cut them out entirely from your diet. Many food scientists recommend including them in your diet, though, with a suggested intake of 45 to 65% of your total caloric intake. That's a lot, and it's for a good reason. Carbohydrates are the body's #1 source of energy, as they fuel bodily functions and organs, as the body converts carbs into glucose to be used as fuel. They also support gut health, help regulate blood sugar levels, and can make you feel full for longer. Not to mention, fiber-rich carb sources can help lower cholesterol levels while further increasing the feeling of being full. Let me give you a few good sources of carbs: oatmeal, rice, lentils, beans, and whole wheat bread. There's also fruits and vegetables like apples, bananas, potatoes, and corn that are also good sources of carbs. Sometimes I cook myself some oatmeal with a scoop of protein powder, sprinkling in some blueberries and pumpkin seeds. God damn, that is some good stuff. It's protein, carbs, fiber, and antioxidants with one good meal. At the end of the day, it all comes down to consistency. This is a theme that I'll be mentioning a lot from now on, so heads up for that. You could be hitting your calorie goals, getting all the proper macronutrients in, and work out, though it'll all crumble if you're not consistent with it. I got a great tip for people who need to work on that aspect. Rather than seeing a break in diet as starting over, just consider it hitting the pause button for a moment. Not gonna lie, that mentality really helps me with healthy eating, and I hope it'll help you as well. Thanks for listening all the way through. It means a lot. You can find me on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Please like, subscribe, comment, whatever to boost engagement, as that really helps the show. In the next episode, I'll be discussing general guidelines for working out. This is Arthur, signing off.